So let's go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. This is Cindy with Energized Living Today. It's so good to see everybody. I know more people are going to come in just a few minutes. And so I'm just so glad that you are all here. And Patricia says, good morning from California. If you want to go ahead and put in where you're calling in from, go ahead and put it in our chat. And so Dani can see that. We've got people all over the country. Dani Williamson, as many of you know, I've talked about her forever. She's been on before. In fact, I feel like we're kind of responsible for all the stuff she's doing now because we were her first interview. I invited her on years ago. She had helped me after my misdiagnosis of MS and helped me to rebuild my whole immune system, my body. When I walked into her office, she was at a different office at the time, but when I walked in, I could barely walk. And in fact, they had to grab me one time when I collapsed in their office and because my hips wouldn't even work anymore. It was a gruesome time for me. And she helped me regain my health. And you know, so now she has helped so many people. She started her own practice. She's on every Sunday. In fact, I want everybody to sign up for her newsletter. And Dani, if you want to put that information on how they do that in the chat, that would be great so everybody can see where to sign up for your newsletter. Also, your Facebook page and Dani Williamson Wellness on Facebook, and she does a Sunday service every Sunday night where she chooses different topics to talk about. This woman is a wealth of information, and this is what I love about her. She believes science, she never stops learning, and she doesn't believe she knows everything. She is always so humble. She always says, oh, there's so much more to learn, so much more to learn. And yet she's one of the smartest people I know.
Oh, please. Just a little girl from Gilbertsville, Kentucky, who just, kept going to school. Goodness gracious, I could be a brain surgeon now by the time. I mean, my first 20 years was spent in fashion design. I have a master's degree in fashion design, and that's what I did. I worked in New York City and owned a retail store and all that, and then, got divorced, lost it all, went on food stamps, medical card, packed up my dog, a hermit crab, 2 cats. No, 2 hermit crabs, a cat, 2 kids. That's right, 2 children. All of us. I forgot about those 2. Drove a 26-foot U-Haul to Nashville. Only person at Vanderbilt Nurse Practitioner School on food stamps. It was quite a show 15 years ago, but I survived it and clawed my way up. And now, how blessed am I to have gotten to do 2, and I've had 2 amazing careers. I mean, fashion is fashion, right? And I loved it. But boy, this one, you get to change people's lives forever.
You sure do. And
you must have some amazing kids, too, if you confuse them with hermit crabs.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to meet them.
They're pretty cool. Oh, my Lord. They've been raised by a nutcase mother. But one's going to medical school. So it's really interesting. He's either going to be the rock star at medical school because he knows your body is designed to heal itself. He's watched his mom work for the last 12 years on healing your body from the inside out, or he's going to be, in so much trouble, 8 years of school, 8, 12, however many more years he's got of school because he knows there's a better way. He's either going to shine or they're going to just nail him, and he says, well, what about their D3 level or what about their B12 level or, if they're taking Nexium, well, then they need zinc, So anyway, it's exciting. I love what I do. And the fact that your body is designed to heal itself, many people don't realize that. This is COVID. We're talking COVID today. But the bulk of my patients, like Cindy, have chronic autoimmune issues, or they have chronic gut issues, or they have, it could be anything. Lupus for me, Hashimoto's. I wasn't born with
Hashimoto's when we first met, too.
That's right. You weren't born with Hashimoto's. You weren't born, Ferris, with, I'm just making things up, IBS. Bonnie, you weren't born with migraine headaches. Cynthia, you weren't born with anxiety. Dani, you weren't born with lupus. We turn every bit of that on ourselves. And I am living proof that what you turn on, you can turn off. God designed our body that way, and it's fascinating. This is not a Nexium deficiency when you have heartburn. I had heartburn for years, and I was given Nexium for years. Well, it's not, I'm not missing Nexium in there. I'm missing something else. Migraine headaches, that's not an ibuprofen deficiency, right? So the fact that I get to do what I do, and Cindy has seen it firsthand, it's fascinating when you give your body what it needs and your body turns on and gets back to center where we were born. Most of us were born healthy. Not everyone is born healthy, but many people are. We turn these chronic lifestyle diseases on.
Exactly.
You bet.
Lots of people, from all over the place. Again, I just wanted you to see Nevada, New York City, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, wow, Georgia. And I want to say Dani has put together a package for everybody to help support your immune system. She's got a very special deal here. And to prove that I actually have it, Dani, right here.
There it is.
I've got it all every day. I start with my sprays and, I'm ready. I am ready. Yep, that's it. And I'll do mine too. And this helps in so many ways. I'm speaking all the time. So this is great for that.
You bet it does. And it's got some Chinese herbs in it too, I think a little bit, but we're going to talk about this when we're talking about ways to build your immune system with supplements. But you've got to start, right, building your immune system just by your lifestyle.
Absolutely. Well, a few things I want to start with. First of all, you're a nurse practitioner. I've been going to you for years. Always jealous of your hair. She's got the best hair of anybody I know. Just amazing.
I wouldn't have had it straightened. I haven't had my hair straightened in 3 years because of the humidity. So had I known I was going to do this, I had this appointment at 8:00 yesterday morning, I would have left my hair curly. But anyway,
she has this big red curly hair that's just to be jealous of.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And as I said, I started going to Dani. She was with another doctor's office, and I met her, and she got me on the right path to healing myself. She's actually the one that guided me in healing my body of Hashimoto's and other autoimmune issues, and led me to understand that I had breast implant illness, which we have talked about here too, and how to heal my body after that, because she sent me to another doctor who did some blood tests, and I found out my body was loaded with all of these metals. I've talked about that before, which was causing the problem. And so I had to detox from that afterwards. And she has helped me through that. Like I said, she's got a very active Facebook page, so please join her. Dani Williamson, Dani Williamson Wellness, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it used to be Inside Out. Are you still using that?
Well, I still have that. That's a private community. So you can ask to join Inside Out Healing from Within, but I couldn't do the Sunday night service on there because it's private. So you can't share anything off of a private group. So I had to start a public group or public page, Dani Williamson Wellness. And that's the same on Instagram and YouTube. So all three of them have different things on them. Okay. Instagram is where I do all the cooking videos every day.
Okay. I love that. I love that. You've got your first book coming out.
Yes, I do.
About that just very briefly.
Yes, Wild and Well, Dani's 6 Common Sense Steps to Radical Healing will be out the first part of the year. I'm actually in the process of meeting with 2 publishers now. One we didn't go with. So the book will be out in 2021. I'm not quite sure when, but it is my 6 steps. The first part is on trauma and adverse childhood experiences and how that sets your body up for chronic disease possibly and mental health issues going forward. And it's on my 6 steps: eat well, sleep well, move well, poop well, decrease stress, cultivate community. The entire book is on that and melding those together to decrease inflammation and decrease whatever it is going on in your body and build up your immune system. It's a really good, common sense, practical way to reverse whatever it is going on in your body. I'm excited about it. It's going to be good. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful book, actually. It's beautifully done.
Beautiful. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for it to come out. And we'll have you back on when the book comes out. As I said, Friday night, we were talking about this, and I wanted to get some clarification on things. Things have changed a lot since COVID first hit in earlier this year, as you know, Dani, because I came to you because I didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on with me in January when I was sick, and I went to her and I said, I cannot get well. And I thought it was the vaccination that I had. And I couldn't get well. Then I had the heart inflammation. Then I had the esophagus inflammation. And finally, when we did the test to find out that I had the antibodies, we knew that it was COVID. But at the time that I have it, I didn't know. And Dani helped me to come back from that because I was not recovering and I couldn't figure out what it was, why I couldn't recover. And it really took me a long time to really feel good again and be able to even start running. I didn't have the lung capacity. Mm-hmm. So, this is dangerous stuff. It's not something to take lightly. It's not something to just dismiss. And it's not something to fear. As I have said here, this is about, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And if you know how to take care of yourself and you know how to combat this, then you'll be fine. This whole COVID experience is about learning to respect again, learning to respect your body, learning to respect other people by wearing a mask, social distancing. It's about respecting the virus itself. And if you do, then you're going to be just fine. You're going to make it through this on the other side. Better for it, I believe. Everything happens for a purpose. Mm-hmm. I want Dani today to talk about, that there's so many treatments that you hear about out there. I want to talk about the COVID myths that are out there, the new science that we know now from the first wave, and how to build your immune system, and what to do if you get it, if we have time for that. So, Dani, I'm just going to let you take it away. That's a lot I just threw on you there.
Which we had no idea. I had no idea what she wanted to talk about. So, okay. And I don't know what went on Friday. So I'm starting, don't tell me, I don't want to know. So whatever was talked about Friday.
We just talked about COVID and what's going on.
Okay.
No, It wasn't anything real bad, but it just that there's a lot of myths out there. Some things came up and I thought, we've got to make sure we get the real information out there. So people aren't going down this. I've seen some really credible people have some really dumb things that they've been promoting that I know do not have an effect on this because of science.
Right. And I'm going to talk about the top 3-4 things we know for sure. Okay. We do have some clinical studies, but again, this is a novel virus, right? This is brand new. Novel meaning we've never seen it before. Right. SARS-CoV-2 is the novel virus that has created COVID-19, right? Which invades the body. How it happens, it invades the body by attacking the angiotensin converting enzymes, the ACE enzymes, which are in our body. The ACE enzymes are there in our lungs and in our immune system to decrease inflammation, they're in our gut as well. And so to decrease inflammation, to keep inflammation in balance and at a balance. And this virus attacks those, making those ACE enzymes ineffective, so that in essence, inflammation just goes through the roof, absolutely through the roof, and takes over. But I talked about this in August on my Sunday night service, and when I went home to print off because I couldn't find the pages from August, I just looked up real quickly the Tennessee numbers as of yesterday. As of yesterday, November 14th, Tennessee has 305,250 total cases. Now, this is just Tennessee. This is not nationwide. Wow. We had 42,674 new cases the past 14 days. We're seeing a bump, a big bump here. We've had 3,877 deaths confirmed as of yesterday. 1,800 people are hospitalized right now. Up 76 people since yesterday, which would have been, this came out here, so that would have been November 13th. 76 people were hospitalized on November 13th. We've tested over 4 million people in Tennessee as of yesterday. And it says with a 13% positive rate. And I don't know about that for sure, actually, but that is up tremendously from August the 8th when I last talked about COVID. Actually, we only had 119,000 confirmed cases in August. And as of yesterday, 305,000 total cases. So we're seeing a bump nationwide, worldwide. My best friend is in high up with the with the Baptist hospital system in Kentucky. They had about six people at the height in March, April, May. You know, everyone was preparing for this. 6 people as of yesterday, because I was with her Friday and Saturday. There were 37 people in the hospital in Paducah with COVID. So very few people are passing away from it, which is a great thing. But once you get in the hospital, you know you're pretty sick. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is preventing yourself from getting into the hospital and building your immune system up. So COVID-19 affects the ACE receptors, the ACE2 receptors in your body. And that is your body's repair mechanism in your body during injury and inflammation. Well, when you get this virus, that's when inflammation starts to go through the roof. ACE receptors will go up during inflammation. They'll go up during tissue damage. When you have an overall weakened immune system, you are more likely to catch anything, not just COVID-19, anything, the flu, the cold, pneumonia, bronchitis, things like that. So what we need to do is build our immune system up year round. Now, did you all talk about the incubation time of COVID? Do you know anything about that? We know?
No, we didn't talk about that.
Okay, so incubation period from when you get exposed to it, right? Could be anywhere from 2 days to 14 days. So that's huge. 5 days is the average, meaning when you get exposed. I get exposed today, November 15th. So November 20th, that's 5 days from now, is usually the average time frame when most people will start showing symptoms of it. Now, a lot of people don't. I've been exposed. We've all been exposed. If you've been out of your house at all since March, you've been exposed to COVID-19. Unlike the flu, COVID-19 symptoms start gradually. So the flu, most of the time, will hit you. You'll be fine right now, and tomorrow morning you wake up feeling terrible. That's usually how the flu happens. Not with everybody. I mean, there's not 100% everybody across the board these things happen to, but the COVID-19 is gradual. Fatigue, aches, pains, sore throat, a mild cough. This is starting off with, right? A stuffy nose, runny nose, sometimes nausea, sometimes loss of appetite. That's usually the very beginning of COVID-19. Some people have stomach pain. That's their first symptom. And you know, some people lose their, I don't know if anybody's had COVID or not on here. You know, you lose your taste of smell, your smell and your taste quite frequently. That seems to be one of the number one symptoms right there. Some people with diarrhea, some people's toes turn purple. I don't know.
My neighbor who has it, and I was exposed to her. Gary and I were on Halloween, and she tested positive a couple of days later. We got a little careless. She's a nurse at Vanderbilt. She does kidney dialysis, and she works with a lot of people who have had COVID who have kidney issues afterwards. So a lot of people that she works with actually ended up with COVID. But her big symptoms, of course, lack of, losing her taste and smell. That's one of the first things for me. Sore throat. She has a big time sore throat, headache, gut pain, really bad, very nauseous. She hasn't been able to eat at all. No fever. She's had no fever. And so one of the things that so many people do, Dani, is they check your temperature right away. Well, I know more people who haven't had a fever than who had. I had a fever when I had it, but most of the people I know haven't. So
Yeah, most of my patients haven't either. So, and we're going to talk about that, what we've seen in our group here at the office. Initially, your respiratory complaints, like the cough and the sniffles and the sore throat and all that, usually lasts about 5 days. And then that's followed by recovery for another week or so. That's phase one, right? That's phase one. Usually a couple weeks worth of those symptoms. 80% of the population, we know this, 80% of the population, that's as far as it goes right there, right? And then there's 20% of them that get into phase two. Phase two is where we're really affecting those lungs and that respiratory system and that mucus, secretory system in there. Phase two, after about 5 days, a lot of people start with cough and shortness of breath and pneumonia, symptoms of pneumonia or pneumonia. And this is where those ACE2 receptors are not functioning at all the way they're supposed to, which are to fight off inflammation and viruses. And so they are reared up trying to do their job, but they're not getting the opportunity to do that to decrease inflammation. Some people have seizures, some people have, strokes, mood swings, behavioral changes, all of this. Migraine headaches, horrible headaches. Now I'm seeing a lot of patients with headaches here in the office that are post infection. But whether you're sick or whether you're well, infected people, like whether you show symptoms or you've never shown symptoms, they shed the virus in secretions for several weeks afterwards. We do know that, and may still be contagious up to 8 days after your symptoms end.
8 days?
So if your symptoms end today, what's that? The 23rd, you could still be contagious up to. And that's tough because we go back to work, right? So we're spreading it. So what I'm seeing with my patients is I've been very blessed. I haven't had too many patients with COVID-19, but the ones who have gotten COVID-19 have done very well. Not one patient's been in the hospital, thank goodness. Not a one of them has been on a respirator or life support. But what we're seeing post-COVID, and there's a post-COVID syndrome, is extreme fatigue, like almost debilitating fatigue. So this is after you survive it. And most people do. It's tragic for the people who don't survive. And I have a patient whose dad died last week of it. And that's tragic. Majority of the people, though, do survive this. So know that. Debilitating fatigue post-COVID. Loss of taste and smell still not coming back. Migraine headaches, joint pain. Those are the big ones that I'm seeing. Are you seeing that? Have you, Cindy?
Yes. And that's what you just described to me, because it went into my lungs. I couldn't even get upstairs. I slept on my couch for weeks.
Yes.
I couldn't get upstairs.
It's just like trying to rebuild back up that endurance. Again, my good friend Chad Yarborough had it, and he's a functional medicine chiropractor in town, and it really affected his short-term memory. That's one of the things as well. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Short-term memory, migraine headaches, extreme fatigue, shortness of breath, just not being able to he had to jump in the water and get somebody who is struggling. And anyway, it almost killed him trying to get to shore with her. He said, Dani, I couldn't breathe. He did it because his adrenaline was going, but just a real prolonged shortness of breath.
That's exactly what I expect. Well, when I came to you and said, I have no energy, like I can't even get out of my chair. All I was doing was sitting all the time, and sitting around, didn't have the energy, shortness of breath, no smell, no taste, just not the lung capacity. I'm a runner, so surprised me.
Exactly. So the thing is, here's the thing. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. We are going to have a vaccine. Whether you choose to take the vaccine or not is completely up to you. And we're not talking vaccines, I'm assuming today. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's like the flu. It is a virus. It's not an infection. The infection is secondary to COVID-19, right? This is a virus. So the pneumonia is an infection. So that's a secondary part of, that's why they give some people antibiotics with this, because if you get into pneumonia, you're going to need an antibiotic. You don't need, just vitamin C to treat that. So we're going to have to learn to live with this. And what we have to learn to do is if you choose to get a vaccine, then you choose to get a vaccine. But you also have to choose to build your immune system up every single day. And that starts with eating well. If you eat processed, packaged, bagged, canned, fake, man-made food, you are creating systemic inflammation in your body. So we know through the science that 100%, and it's very rare that you can say 100% of all chronic lifestyle diseases. What is a chronic lifestyle disease? That's something you weren't born with, that you turned on. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, right? The list goes on and on. 100% all chronic lifestyle diseases, the underlying root cause of that is an inflammatory process, inflammation. And what's the number one thing that creates inflammation in your body? Day in and day out, decade after decade.
Food.
What's at the end of your fork?
Yeah.
What's at the end of your fork is way more powerful than what's in these pill bottles right here. It's as simple as that. What's at the end of your fork will either heal you or kill you. Simple as that. You can't sugarcoat it. And sugar's one of the top 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, corn, eggs, and peanuts. Those are the top 7 inflammatory foods in the country. So if you're eating a diet processed package, you're eating a diet loaded with those foods right there. So that's the number one way that we work on decreasing inflammation. As soon as I cut out gluten, dairy, sugar in my life, gluten and dairy are out. Gluten's 100%. Dairy's about 99.9. Sometimes something slips in. Sugar's probably about 90% out. Sugar slips in too. As soon as I cut those 3 devils out right there, my entire world changed. And eggs for me were very, very inflammatory. So that's where we start, right? So if you want to protect your immune system, build your immune system up, eat an anti-inflammatory diet. I'm a fan of a Mediterranean lifestyle because that's the way the bulk of the world eats, is a Mediterranean lifestyle. The countries who live to be over 100, the blue zones, the areas of the world where people live to be over 100, they eat a Mediterranean lifestyle. Lots and lots of fruits and vegetables. If you just Google what's a Mediterranean lifestyle, fruits and vegetables, fish, beef, chicken, pork, lamb, turkey, nuts, seeds, olive oil, avocados. That's an anti-inflammatory, 1 ingredient Mediterranean lifestyle. That's where I start. But you also have to have enough protein. We know the people who do the worst with COVID-19 don't have enough protein intake in their body. They have very low protein. So Dr. Leo Galland is brilliant. He's a medical doctor in New York City, but he has a tremendous amount of information out on COVID-19. And protein is one of his big ways to help boost your immune system and help prevent COVID-19. As a rough estimate, what you need protein-wise every day is half of your body weight. So I'm 130 pounds on average. I need a minimum of 65 grams of protein a day. And that's going to help boost your immune system up. Good, clean protein. Okay. Eating well, we could get into a million different things, but let me say about dairy. Dairy, I would cut dairy out. If I was worried about COVID or any sort of pneumonia or bronchitis, or if I had asthma, you don't want any dairy ever again in your diet. Think about what dairy is. Dairy is thick, gunky, basic cow mucus, cow snot. That's what dairy is. It's thick and gunky and it gunks. When I'm at the grocery and I look at the cheese counter and I'm mad as heck because I can't eat it because my hands hurt so bad. If I eat dairy, my hands hurt like crazy. Lupus for me attacked my hands, the joints. And dairy and eggs were the 2 that were creating horrible joint pain for me. So that being said, if I can't eat dairy, I don't want anybody to, but dairy's about number 2 in the country for inflammatory foods. Think about it. It's thick. It's gunkusy. There's a new word.
Gunkusy. I like it.
Gunkusy, right? If you have bronchitis or asthma or you smoke or you have COPD, you don't ever, or sinus infections, you don't ever want dairy. It clogs those bronchial tubes up. It clogs those lungs up. It is horrific for your body, inflammatory wise and vascular system wise. So through respiratory wise, this is a respiratory illness. People drown in their own mucus secretions. That's how they end up dying with COVID, right? They end up drowning. They're drowning in their own copious amounts of mucus in their lungs. Do everything in your power to cut out all dairy, because it's going to create inflammation and create mucus. My people with with allergies and sinus issues and acne, of course, as soon as they cut dairy out, oh my gosh, their sinus infections go down, right? Their breathing goes up. If they're asthmatics, they can breathe better. So that's a big one right there. As well as drinking as much hot liquid as you can. Hot tea, hot coffee, hot bone broth. I'm a big believer of good bone broth. Hot anything, just water with lemon in it and maybe a little bit of honey. Anything hot that's going to decrease the mucus secretions in the lungs, because we're talking lungs here. COVID-19 is mainly lungs, okay? Anything that's going to break up, bust up, anything in there. Hot, hot, hot. I'm a big fan of drinking hot. I love cold water. I mean, I love water, but ideally you're going to be drinking hot liquids during this
Just
time.
like an Ayurveda. You know, they always say drink hot water instead of cold water. Never cold water, hot.
Yeah, don't ever put ice in your water and drink that during a meal, right? That's one of the worst things that you can do for your digestion. I never put ice in my water. It's always just
temperature. I've got a quick question for you about the dairy, because I love ghee, and I don't use a lot of it, but I do like ghee. Is ghee okay?
Ghee's fine. I use a lot of ghee because ghee is clarified butter.
Right.
So meaning the casein portion of that is pretty much eliminated. And for me, casein is a protein, and I can, casein I react to terribly on my food sensitivity, but I can use ghee. So ghee does not bother me, but straight up, even Kerrygold butter or really even a good organic butter still bothers me, but ghee does not. So I cook and I use ghee, and it's an acquired taste, I think. But
me too, but I have found that I get Kerrygold butter and I make my own. And I have found that the taste is much better than that you buy that's already done. If you have the time for that, do it yourself, and the taste is so much better. I don't know why.
Right. And I have a lot of patients always say, well, I drink raw milk, Dani, and I do raw. Okay, that's fine. But it's still extremely inflammatory. It's still the same thing. Milk, it's totally different. Raw milk and pasteurized milk, or ultra light pasteurized milk. It's still dairy. It's still thick and gunky and all that. Now, I think raw is probably better for you. My office manager can tolerate dairy. She does not have a dairy sensitivity at all, but she eats very little dairy because she knows how inflammatory it is. It's one of the first things when your doctor asks you, or your nurse practitioner, we're going to do an elimination diet. That's one of the things. It's gluten, dairy, soy, corn, sugar, eggs, peanuts. Those are the 7 things you would cut out inflammatory wise. So raw, pasteurized, not pasteurized, light pasteurized, it's still very inflammatory. People will do anything not to cut out their cheese.
And that's been my biggest problem. I'll go a long time without it, but and then every now and then I'll want it. I have found that hard cheeses have less of the casein, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so the hard cheese is what I'll go for if I really just got to have a little bit of cheese.
As well as sheep cheese. So now I've got a goat sensitivity. My body hates goat. Well, doesn't hate goats, hates goat's milk. I love goats. Hates goat's milk. My body reacts to goat's milk and cow's milk. But I can tolerate a little bit of Manchego and a little bit of Pecorino. A lot of patients can. Not everybody, but sheep cheese seems to be less inflammatory. Of course, it's harder to find. I've never found a sheep brie, but dairy is one of the big inflammatories, right? So when you're talking about eating and you're talking about decreasing inflammation, diet's going to be number 1. You can take all the supplements in the world, but you can't out supplement an inflammatory diet. And it's the hardest thing to change. This isn't even about COVID. This is about overall health right here. Hardest thing you'll ever do is change what's at the end of your fork, because you can do without lots of things, right? Drinking and smoking and drugs and alcohol and all that, but you can't do without food. And we're creatures of habit. Unfortunately, our habits are not very good for most people. We only eat about the same 5 meals, the research shows. We eat about 5 or 6 meals. That's it. We feed our kids 5 or 6 meals. We're destroying our children's health by giving them such a limited amount of food. God made hundreds of foods for us to eat, and the average American eats something like 11 to 12, 13 foods out there, where our ancestors ate hundreds of foods: nuts, berries, seeds, sprouts, all the food, fish, chicken, pork, lamb, berries, everything. And we have such a limited diet. It's not funny. And we need to eat in season, and we need to eat fresh, one ingredient food. You cannot eat out and expect to be healthy. It's just you can't. You got to cook your food from scratch, one ingredient at a time. Chop it, cook it, bag it, meal prep it. You cheat when you're not prepared. And my patients don't cheat with salmon and broccoli. Shit. They cheat with, whatever. So what the chocolate chip cookies in the cabinet. So we've got to meal prep and eat clean. That's huge. You got to eat well. You got to sleep well, right? Your body heals when you sleep. Cindy, we could talk about all this for hours of my 6 steps. And then you've got to move well. Your body's designed to move. If you're not moving your body, especially if you get COVID, the worst thing that you can do is lay down in bed. You have got to exercise these lungs. You've got to get up. This is why we put people prone in the ICU, right? Prone on their stomach to try to push their lungs up and try to get them up. Because again, this is a respiratory illness until it goes full body. And then it starts off though as a respiratory illness. You've got to move. You've got to get outside. My patients who do the best through COVID are the ones who are actually deep breathing, practicing yoga, using their lungs, right? Their pranayama means life force in Sanskrit, and it's true. We only use about 15% of our lung capacity, and we've got about 85% more there to use. So if you get COVID, you get outside and you move your body and you stretch it out. At the very least, if you feel so sick you can't stand it, lay on the earth. Get your feet to the sun, your feet to the earth, and your face to the sun. And you're going to feel that's grounding and that's earthing. And that's a whole nother way, right, to bring your body back into balance. But deep breathing, eat well, sleep well, move well, poop well. Well, if you're not pooping, you're loaded with inflammation. I have a whole chapter on pooping in this new book. And a good healthy gut is going to poop a couple of times a day like their dog does. Okay. A dog eats and they go and poop, not very much longer. That's a good healthy gut. If you're not pooping a couple times a day, you are loaded with inflammation. And if your doctor or nurse practitioner tells you it's normal to only poop 2 or 3 times a week, they're full of crap. They probably aren't pooping either, and they think it's good. No, you're supposed to. What you eat today should be 100% out of your body tomorrow. This is one big tube from the mouth all the way down to the anus. One big tube. It should just go in, do its thing, and come out. It should not be sitting there fermenting, building up bulk and all that in there and creating systemic inflammation. Pooping is a big one. You're not healthy, and you eliminate toxins through the stool, right? Through the sweat and the urine and the tears and all that, but also through the poop. And you got to decrease stress. Eat well, sleep well, move well, poop well. You got to decrease stress. Well, Cindy, you talk about this all the time. Stress will kill you. Mm-hmm. And the way you manage stress, we all have stress. I mean, it's been a mess in here since March, and we all have stress. My mom has Alzheimer's, and that's a whole nother ball of wax.
How is she doing?
We're alive through this.
How is she doing?
She's all right. I saw her yesterday. I went in, but I was there just real quickly. But Mom, what are you doing? She's had a boyfriend. I've been divorced 18 years. I don't have a boyfriend. I'm not married. My mother's had a boyfriend for 18 years, and now she has Alzheimer's, but he still sticks with her. I said, Mom, what's Jack doing? She goes, oh, he's raking leaves all day, getting ready. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. I'm just going to cook a little dinner. My mother has not been in her house in a year and a half, and she doesn't cook. I mean, it's pitiful. It's horrible. It's sad, but I just went along with it. I said, well, that's great, Mom. She said, I'm just going to cook a little bit this year. I said, okay, I'll be there. I won't, because they're not going to let us have, she's fine. It's just a terrible disease. And everything that I'm talking about, you guys that are in Mary's tribe over here, everything that I'm talking about today is one of the, or six of the things you can do to help prevent Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a disease of prevention. You weren't born with Alzheimer's. Again, you turned it on if you have it, or dementia. And once we turn it on, there's no turning it off right now. We don't have a cure for that. And it's an inflammatory process. They call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. Type 3 diabetes. We know that sugar is a huge contributor to memory loss and to Alzheimer's, right? Mm-hmm. So decreasing stress is huge. If you've got a bunch of soul suckers in your life, get rid of them. Whatever that takes. There's nothing wrong with setting boundaries. Everybody's in a little square right here on Zoom. I'm looking at everybody, Bernadette and Pam and Marcia and Ferris and Bonnie. Those are boundaries right there. We're not all bleeding into each other right there. There is nothing wrong with cutting out the people in your life that are creating havoc in your life. And that goes for family members. Family members, friends, right? Am I right?
Yep. I had to do that. I had to part with some family members, and the stress was just, no, stress-free living as much as possible.
You bet. And when you get rid of those people, I mean, your life is so much better, and you teach people how to treat you. And eventually, if they don't respect that, then, that's on you. Shame on you. Shame on me for not taking care of myself. And that goes for spouses. I'm not saying get rid of your spouse. What I'm saying is, or go quit your job. I mean, you deserve respect. So stress is a huge piece of this, right? Stress creates systemic inflammation in your body. We know when you're under so much stress, and your cortisol, your adrenal glands, which sit right on top of your kidneys behind you here, shoot out cortisol nonstop, that your inflammatory markers are going up. Your blood sugar goes up. Your joint pains go. Everything goes up when you're under stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between good and bad stress. You got COVID-19. Your daughter got married. Your daughter had a baby. You're getting married. Your body doesn't know the difference between good and bad stress. It reacts to stress all the same way. So you have to protect your body and manage the stress as best you can. And then cultivate community. That's my sixth and final step of full body healing. Community is key. And this community that you've built, Cindy, is amazing. And Ferris, you guys have done an incredible job with community. Community in the Mediterranean worlds, in Europe and Italy, their entire world revolves around family and community. They don't eat their meals in the car going from the house in the morning to work. They don't get their food out of somebody's drive-through window that's fake food and shovel down their McMuffin and drink their coffee, their toxic coffee from McDonald's real fast. They celebrate community with each other all day, every day. I spent 2 weeks in Italy for my 50th birthday 4 years ago, and I was amazed at watching the community there. Those people know how, even during COVID. So COVID hit, that's right. COVID hit Italy the worst initially, right? Well, numbers are going up again. But don't you all remember on the news where you saw the Italians out on their balconies singing to each other and toasting and drinking wine? They don't drink alone, by the way, either. They drink with family and with meals. And we tend to drink alone a lot in America, which creates a whole nother world of hurt for us. But that's community, right? Pick your tribe and stay in contact with them. If you believe in Jesus, like I do, Jesus had a really cool community. They were all messed up like we are. I mean, he had his 12, and then he had the inner circle in, his 12. And so, but they were flawed like us. So that's how I start with my patients: eat well, sleep well, move well, poop well, decrease stress, and have community. Those are the building blocks to setting your body up to being able to fight off anything that's going to come its way, whether it's COVID-19, the flu, pneumonia, cancer. We all get cancer. The research shows about 7 or 8 times a year, but your body fights it off until it doesn't. And cancer feeds on sugar, by the way. Cancer loves sugar. It replicates like crazy on sugar. And I did a Sunday night service on cancer. Last month? Did you see it, Cindy, with Dr. Nasha Winters? She was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer at age 19. Stage 4. There's no stage 5, people. She was given 3 months to live. She turned 49 the week after our Sunday night service. She changed her into, hey, that's right, Barbara. Good. You need to watch that Sunday night service on cancer. It was unbelievable. And how you build your terrain. What we're just talking about here, your gut, your microbiome, how you build your body up to fight it off. So that's my 6 steps.
Ferris, you need to go on and do that. I wanted to say something just real quickly about community, because when this all hit, I actually, you know me, highly intuitive, get downloads all the time. I was told that this was coming. I didn't know what was coming, but that death was coming. And I was told when all of this hit to start having calls every single day, every day of the week. And so we started, and I did not know the importance of us getting together, that was one way to heal our bodies and keep our immune system strong, until you and I were talking, and I realized, you said community, we got to have a community. And while we're not out, we were told come together, and we started every single day. And now we're down to 3 times a week. But community, I think, is the reason that I survived this.
You bet. Well,
it did get in my lungs, but I never went to the hospital.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness. We try to stay away from there, right?
Yes.
One more thing on community, because your tribe doesn't probably know or follow me, but in April this year, so it would have been the first weekend in April, I started a community cookout in my neighborhood. I've been there 7 years, and we have a great little neighborhood, and we all know each other, like Donna, hi Donna, hi Taryn. I mean, we just would talk, but we didn't know each other. We weren't real community. And so 2 of my neighbors and I were sitting together in April, first weekend in April, COVID, all apart from each other, not knowing what was going on. I said, why don't we just have a neighborhood community cookout every Friday night at 5:00? And from that, and we started in our driveways. So we were all separated. It was ridiculous. I'm so loud. Like, I could do this without any sort of microphone. You could hear me all the way, 30 miles away. So we're all separated. We did that cookout every Friday night until October, the end of October. And then the weather kind of got weird. You would not believe how our community came together. And then we had one of our community members get engaged during this time. I led the wedding. They got married in my front yard because we had built this community, and I just did a wedding. Well, it's the second wedding I've done, but I did the wedding talking about community and how, we've all come together. But the things we learned about each other, I have never laughed so hard in my life. I mean, we've got every different political religion, and we are now truly community. And I have so many people in my tribe and my following who started the same things in their community, right? All it takes is one person to say, hey, let's get together. Who cares if it's just you and one other person? And then somebody else will see it. And it has been the greatest thing probably I've ever done for community. And when I missed it, I missed like 2 weekends this summer, 2 or 3. They didn't do it, which is interesting to me because everybody needs a ringleader, don't they? And when the ringleader something could happen to me. I could get killed on the way to Kentucky. And then what are they going to do? Not ever do it again? So, get in there and do it. Somebody's got to do it and start it. But good Lord, things happen to people. But that has been so healing for us to talk about. And I challenge every one of you to do something like that.
I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. So
okay.
Now we've talked about lifestyle and how lifestyle changes. Definitely. This is an inflammatory disease, or not disease, virus. And so we've got to support our bodies by getting rid of inflammatory things, lifestyle changes. What can we do supplementally?
Okay. So we know very little supplementally, science-wise. We know some things. We know D3, we know vitamin C, we know zinc, and we're going to talk about those three things, solid evidence on these. Vitamin D3, right? D3 is not a vitamin. It's actually a pro-hormone in your body. Do you know that the majority of the people are deficient in vitamin D3? It's very rare that I check a patient and they have a normal D3 level and they don't take D3. People say, oh, I'm out in the sun all summer long. You know, I just wear a t-shirt and shorts and I'm out in the sun. Mm-mm. The sun's not going to raise your D3 level. If it did, the surfers in Hawaii, and we have a lot of clinical studies on this, you can look it up. The surfers in Hawaii would not be vitamin D deficient, and they are. So we know that your body needs a little bit extra help with vitamin D. D3, what are the symptoms of low D3? What are the things that happen from a vitamin D deficiency? We've identified like 28, but a few are heart attack, stroke, cancer, osteoporosis, osteopenia, fatigue, depression, weight gain, foggy headedness, insomnia. Good Lord, the list goes on and on and on from low vitamin D. And who's going to have the lowest vitamin D? African Americans, Indians, dark-skinned people, Asians. They're going to have the lowest vitamin D because their body does not metabolize vitamin D well at all. So for sure, the darker your skin, the more vitamin D that you need, or you need to have your vitamin D3 level checked. Now, 5,000 international units of D3, that's what I usually start most of my patients on. But now D3 is fat soluble. So you need to know your vitamin D3 level. People who take 4 or 5 months of D3 at 5,000 international units are not going to most likely overdose on vitamin D. But again, I'm a big believer in finding out what your vitamin D3 level with. We have research that shows vitamin D deficiency is associated with a higher incidence of acute respiratory infections. Okay, well, this is in a respiratory infections. It is also hypothesized that there's a link between seasonal influenza, flu, and vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D deficiency or supplementation has also been shown to decrease the incidence of acute respiratory infections. So I'm a big fan of vitamin D. That's an easy, cheap way to raise your D3 level. Vitamin D3 and K2-7 work synergistically together. So you always, if you can, want to get a vitamin D3 with K2 in it. K2 and D3 work well together. They move each other up. Vitamin K2, which is not a part of COVID and all of that, but vitamin K2 is unbelievable for pulling calcium out of the arteries and laying it down on the bones and making bones stronger. It's the number one treatment in Japan for osteoporosis and osteopenia is K2-7 megaquinone. Okay, so you don't have to remember all that, but it's also phenomenal for diabetes. It's incredible for cancer. We have studies after studies, but really to keep the bones strong, if you've ever taken calcium, you want K2-7 because calcium builds up in the arteries. K2 pulls it out of the arteries. So D3, we know that patients with the highest D3 levels do better when they get COVID-19. They tend to stay off the respirator. Okay.
Something
D3.
that I take, and a question about that. We have a lifestyle now where we're indoors all the time, so we don't even get sunlight. Do you think that has contributed to this whole thing?
I bet it has. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. K2-7, yes, raw butter. K2-7 is generally found in organ meat. And so you're going to have your highest sources too as liver, tongues, spleens, kidneys, all that a lot of people don't eat. I love beef liver. I just don't eat it all the time. I have a really good source for beef liver here. I don't eat it all the time. Chicken livers, your organ meat's going to be where your really high K2 levels are. D3, that's a big one. That's an easy one. This is going to be part of y'all's promotion too, if y'all need anything. D3, where am I going next? Zinc. So zinc, usually anywhere between 30 and 60 milligrams a day of zinc. Are you taking 30, Cindy?
30, yes. I think I was taking 30 twice a day.
Yeah. That's right. That's what I thought. Yeah. So zinc has a role pretty much in antibody production, white blood cell production, and it helps fight infections. Zinc's been around forever and ever and ever. Zinc deficiency increases inflammation in your body, and it decreases the production of antibodies that help fight off viruses. So zinc is one of those things that we take whenever we're starting to get a cold or sniffles. You know, you have those Zicam, I think, that's over the counter. And zinc's been around forever. We know about zinc. High dose zinc has been found to reduce the duration and symptoms of the common cold, right? Because what it does is it decreases the inflammation in your body and boosts up your immune system. It has the potential to decrease coronavirus replication. So they're studying it. It's currently being investigated for the treatment of patients with COVID-19. So actually, this was from August, and I haven't had a chance, I didn't get a chance to go on and see what's happened from August to now. Maybe we've got studies on it. Zinc is excellent. Now, zinc, seafood is going to have a lot of zinc in it. A lot of people don't eat a lot of oysters and things like that. Zinc will make you sick. A lot of people will get nauseated if you take zinc. Most people need to take zinc with food, with eating. Otherwise, do you get sick, Cindy? Do you get nauseated if you just take it on empty stomach?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, I do too.
You told me that when I first came there to get it, and I always take it with food. And then you also, I think it was you that said separate it, like take it twice a day, but separate that out.
Take it twice a day. If you're going to take a whole lot of zinc, like if you get sick and you want to ramp your zinc up to 190 milligrams, 120, 200 milligrams a day, you only do that short term. But if you're going to take zinc long term, you want to make sure that you balance that zinc with copper. Zinc and copper work together. And if you have a deficiency in copper, then you're going to get into a whole other neurological things and things like that. If you're taking a really good multivitamin, and that could be any multivitamin that you take that's a real good one, it usually is going to have about 1 milligram of copper in it. Totally fine. Totally fine. That's all you need. You don't need more than 1 milligram of copper. But if you're going to take zinc long term, you definitely want to make sure you've got copper to go in that. Zinc is easy. There's another way. This is funny. I had forgotten. Well, I didn't forget zinc makes you sick, but I was so excited to get these. You haven't seen these. These are brand new. These are zinc lozenges, which I clearly need right now, with elderberry in it. They have 25 milligrams of zinc and 100 milligrams of elderberry. They taste so good. But I ate one. The rep was in here, and I ate one just on an empty stomach. I was so sick. Oh, my gosh. Nauseated. But there's multiple ways to get zinc. This is a way, but this is what's going to be on y'all's little packet right here. It's 30 milligrams of zinc picolinate right here, bisglycinate chelate right here, D3, and then vitamin C. We know a whole lot about vitamin C. Yeah. Vitamin C is what we got the same one.
I got the same one. Well, I get them all from you. So
vitamin C is one of the greatest, cheapest antioxidants that you will ever use in your body. So an antioxidant, what does an antioxidant do, right? It mops up free radicals in your body. Well, what's that mean? Well, it decreases oxidative stress in your body. Well, yeah, which would be decreasing rusty pipes and, buildup of plaque and arteries, all those things. Oxidative stress is what creates all of the stiffness in your body. Vitamin C is an antioxidant. Vitamin A is an antioxidant. D is works as an antioxidant. But vitamins, N-acetylcysteine is an antioxidant. Buffered C, you do not need fancy vitamin C. Don't let anybody tell you need to pay a lot of money for vitamin C with all the rose hips and the flavonoids. The research on vitamin C and a Nobel Peace Prize was won by Dr. Linus Pauling on vitamin C. Vitamin C, just straight up buffered vitamin C. Great antioxidant. And the way you're going to take vitamin C is you're going to take it until bowel tolerance, okay? Meaning diarrhea. Okay. So 1,000 milligrams, 2 capsules of this one is 1,000 milligrams. So you can take 4 of these, that's 2,000 milligrams, 3 or 4 times, in a day and see how you tolerate it to build up. We are the only mammals who don't make vitamin C in our body, but we store it in our adrenal glands. So those adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys, and they're about the size of walnuts, and they're right back here. There's your adrenal glands sitting right on top of your kidneys. Well, the adrenal glands shoot out cortisol, right, when you're under stress. Vitamin C, again, we don't make it, but we store it there. So when you are deficient in vitamin C, you are adrenally stressed, when you've burned through all your vitamin C. Vitamin C is cheap. It's easy. Now, I would prefer you got it from your food, right? All your citrus stuff. Yeah, but we just don't get enough for the most part through our food. But you're not going to overdose on vitamin C. Something else we've seen in studies in birds have shown that vitamin C protects against the avian coronavirus infection, so the bird flu, basically, with human trials finding that vitamin C decreases susceptibility to viral respiratory infections and pneumonia. And how does it do that? By decreasing the respiratory, the mucus in there. So again, COVID-19 is a mucus infection. Everything we can do to decrease the mucoid secretions, the better. D3, vitamin C, and zinc. Where am I? Right there. These are the 3 big ones that we really know about that are easy to take and inexpensive. Now, some people prefer powdered C. That's fine too. Whatever you want to do is fine. I take the pills just because it's easier for me to swallow. I could swallow a whole bunch of pills, but this vitamin C is 2,569 milligrams of vitamin C for 1 scoop. That's high dose. That's 5 of these.
Wow. I'd like to try that. Since I've had COVID, I have a hard time swallowing pills.
Okay, then you probably want to come and try this. Plus, this has quercetin in it. So vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C. Those are 3 big ones that we are really aware of that are gonna help. There are other things as well, but this, which is what Cindy and I, so we're putting a package together for you all. Yes, this is my all-time favorite. If you all don't know about Biocidin, the company, Biobotanical, they only make like 6 products. And it was designed for the gut, for healing the gut. The Dr. Karen Hubert, I think that's her name. It doesn't matter what her name is. She's a PhD. This is a combination of herbs and adrenal adaptogens: bilberry, noni, milk thistle, echinacea, golden seal, black walnut, lavender oil, oregano oil, tea tree oil. Listen to this. You all may not know this. And there's a whole bunch more in here. Shiitake, antiviral, anti-immune, antibacterial. This is a really incredible antiviral, immune system building throat spray. And here's how we do this. Because I do like 2 or 3 sprays multiple times a day. If I go into the grocery, even with my mask on, I spray this before I go in and when I come out. If I'm in between patients, I'll spray a spray. This is like $25, and I love this.
This is something both Gary and I carry it everywhere we go, and we spray it in before and after we leave. Like when we ate out last night, we had our date night.
Yes,
Indian food to celebrate the lights. But we love this.
Yeah, I do too. This is her entire line is phenomenal for building up your immune system. And it's all different combinations of these different herbs and essential oils and adaptogens. But this is my favorite one. It's like $25 and it lasts a long time.
What's the name of the company again?
This one is Biocidin. This is called Biocidin TS.
Biocidin.
Biocidin. Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be in your package too, right?
It's in the package. We also have this on our website, on our store. So we buy it directly from them. And then, these are the 4 right here. If you were like, okay, I don't know what to do. If you changed your diet, ate an anti-inflammatory diet, worked on those 6 steps, these 4 right here will help build your immune system. Now, there's a bunch of other things too, like a probiotic, right? And we know a bacillus-based probiotic, a spore-based probiotic, and 1 strand of lactobacillus in a plantarum, we know that helps with your immune system. So if you're taking a good probiotic, take it. Elderberry, that's another thing. I take elderberry, but we have a great elderberry company here in Nashville that makes organic elderberry. There are other things, elderberry, of other different companies that make elderberry that's clean and good. Elderberry is phenomenal to build your immune system up. And also, we have a lot of studies on elderberry for decreasing the duration of the flu. Elderberry, though, is one of those things that you would not want to do if you were in phase 2 of COVID and you had pneumonia, right? Or you were struggling to breathe, because this turns your immune system on here. This doesn't cool it down, right? This doesn't decrease inflammation. This turns your immune system on. So, which is beautiful if you have the flu, right? So that but you don't want to turn the immune system on high powered when you're fighting phase 2, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So elderberry
I'm
would
glad
be
to know that. That's one of the myths that I was wondering about.
elderberry would be one of those things you definitely would do during phase 1 for sure. Melatonin, you may not, I have a whole hour on this online, but those of you, melatonin is way more than just something to help you sleep. Melatonin is an antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, and it also builds your immune system up. These are all things that I did not know until I had Dr. Lindsay Berkson on Sunday night service and talked a whole hour on the power of melatonin for building your immune system. What? I had no clue that it was an anti-inflammatory.
I missed that one. I'm going to have to go look at that.
You need to go back and watch it. It is unbelievable for your immune system. So as low as, I have to look here because I always forget, as low as 0.5 milligram, 0.5 milligrams of melatonin has been shown in clinical studies to improve your immune system. Also has been used in super high doses in many progressive hospitals during phase 2. Phase 2,
Really?
Because it cools down the inflammatory response. It helps decrease inflammation. It boosts your T cells. Your T cells are the cells that help you fight off infection. It boosts the immune pathway. Yeah. So take it nightly as an immune system booster, antiviral, and an antioxidant. I was blown away. I sleep good, but I started taking 3 milligrams of melatonin now. And for those of you that don't sleep, if you have trouble going to sleep or if you have trouble staying asleep, both of those are problems, right? If you have trouble going to sleep, you want an immediate release melatonin, one that's going to put you to sleep right off the bat. If you have trouble staying asleep, then you're going to want a controlled release melatonin, right? So it doesn't start releasing until about 2 in the morning, 1 or 2, somewhere around there, 3 in the morning, depending on what time you go to bed. It's going to start releasing. So it's going to help keep you asleep. I learned this from Dr. Berkson on that Sunday night service. People who have trouble going to sleep and staying asleep, well, then you need a little bit of a immediate release. So you'll do just a little bit of immediate release melatonin and then a controlled release melatonin. Melatonin is made in the pineal gland, right? So we've destroyed our melatonin production throughout the decades now that we have fluorescent lights and we're in front of computers and we have cell phones that we're looking at just like this, right before bed, and all the things that we have. And so melatonin should be the highest it's going to be in 24 hours at bedtime. But unfortunately, we have messed up our circadian rhythm just tremendously through the decades because of all the reasons I just said. So it's not going to hurt you to take melatonin. That is a myth. That is a myth. People say, oh, I'm not going to make my own melatonin. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Once you start sleeping, your body heals. So you can't heal if you can't sleep. Your COVID-19, your risk of getting COVID-19 is going to be a lot higher if you're not sleeping. You decrease inflammation when you sleep well. So melatonin is a big one. It's a big one. Dr. Berkson uses it for cancer patients. She had breast cancer. She was taking like 100 milligrams a day, and she talks about that there's whole protocols for melatonin and cancer, melatonin and inflammation.
And that's interesting that you bring that up, because Ferris did not know why they gave him melatonin when he was in the hospital for his open heart surgery.
They gave me melatonin to sleep. I knew why.
Oh, you did? Okay, to sleep. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if they had another reason.
No.
I just never heard of that before.
If I had trouble sleeping, they gave me melatonin. And the reason I brought it up is I was surprised that they would use melatonin instead of some synthetic
drug.
Drug. Like Ambien.
Yeah, Ambien. Thank you.
Or Lunesta or
something like that. Instead, they gave me melatonin.
Fantastic. Well, that was some smart doctor over there.
The VA.
But really, melatonin, like they were talking on, I've watched a lot of podcasts on COVID-19 now, and with a lot of functional medicine providers, and some of the more progressive hospitals are using high dose melatonin, on these really the sickest of the sickest patients with COVID. But I started taking it, even though I sleep pretty good. I don't sleep nearly as well as I did prior to menopause, but I sleep pretty good. But I sleep a lot better now. I'm just taking 3 milligrams at night. But my best friend takes the controlled release. She wakes up a lot at night, and she takes the controlled release. Mm-hmm. And she loves it. Yeah.
Put it in my pack so I can come and get it.
All right, I got it. I'm going to put it right up there for you.
All right. And did you talk about, you didn't talk about this yet?
Yeah, I got it right here. It right here. This immuno-PRP spray right here is phenomenal. And so what it is it is, just to really make it real simple, this is colostrum. So liquid gold. When moms breastfeed, that colostrum that comes out those first 2 or 3 days that give that baby, it helps set their immune system up. This is colostrum from organic cows somewhere, New Zealand or somewhere. These cows are healthier over there. I can't remember, New Zealand or Australia, somewhere. They're not nearly as stressed as we are. This is colostrum. The baby gets the first feeding from the cows, and then we get the second and third. I think that's how it works. And this is to build your immune system up. Boy, this will help with leaky gut. This is a spray, and you use it. How many times a day are you using it, Cindy?
I'm using it 3 times a day.
Yeah, and it's incredible for helping heal the leaky gut, help build your immune system up. It tastes good as well. We just got the big one in right here. So it's it's colostrum polypeptides, which again improves your immune system. And it really helps to help close tight junctions in the gut, decreasing leaky gut. So this works full body right here systemically. Yeah, I'm a big fan. What else are you taking over there that I haven't talked about? Anything?
Let me see. I've got my now for this as a prevention for what's going on now that it's getting cold, I'm taking everything that you just said except for the melatonin. I'm going to be adding that. So, and I think Gary should be, and Ferris will get you some too. Let's see here. Bone broth.
Bone broth. Got it. I got it in the freezer.
Got it.
Yeah, it's in the freezer right here beside me. But I'm a huge fan of bone broth here. It looks like we got restocked yesterday. So you don't have to. We use a company here in town who makes our elderberry. But here's the thing about bone broth. 100% of this is organic. It is grass-fed. Every vegetable, everything that's in here is organic. Mm-hmm. And it's not cheap. It's like $16 for this. So this is not cheap. You can go to Aldi's, you can go to Kroger, you can go to Publix, whatever, Trader Joe's. Aldi's has got an organic bone broth, which is like $2. Now, it doesn't taste as good as this. I know, because I've tried them all. I've drank them all. The best one over the counter is Kettle and Fire. It's incredible, but it's expensive. It's like $6 for half of this right here. And you can make your own bone broth. I just don't do it. I make a ton of food. I'm just not making my bone broth. So, but you can go to Aldi's and get organic bone broth, heat it up and sip it all day long. The beauty of bone broth is, number one, it's loaded with ton of nutrients, but it's got collagen in it, and it's got glycine and proline, the amino acids that you need to heal the gut lining, to cool down the inflammation. There's a reason you eat chicken soup when you're sick. The chicken soup, the broth in the chicken soup is anti-inflammatory, and it helps build your immune system up. So bone broth, hot bone broth, sipping on it throughout the day is unbelievable to help build your immune system. And when you get this, so one of my employees, well, the phlebotomist here got COVID 3 weeks ago, and I had her on lots and lots of bone broth and D3 and zinc. And she was doing it all. Bless her heart. She was sick.
So that leads me to my next question. If somebody does get COVID,
yes.
First thing, do not panic. Most people do not die from this. You know, that's one of the myths that I hear is everybody's going, no, this is, you respect your body, you respect the virus, and you're going to be just fine if you're proactive immediately, or even if you suspect, or if you've been around somebody. Gary and I stepped up everything as soon as we found out we were around somebody that had it, because we didn't know, it takes a few days to get your test back. So if somebody does contract the virus, what do they do?
Don't panic. Keep moving. Ramp up everything, right? Take it to the nth degree on that. Don't panic.
That's what we do.
Keep yourself out. Keep moving. Keep moving. Lay prone if you want. Do fish or cobra, anything you can do to open up the chest, right? Get in the shower and hot steam. Sauna, one of the best things you can do. I'm not so sure Jackson doesn't have it. My son right now, he's tested. We're waiting on his test. He'll be back tomorrow. But he's been in the sauna upstairs here every single day. Trying to sweat it out. Now, you may not have a sauna, right? But you could get in the shower. If you end up at the doctor, right, and you go to get tested, or you're waiting, or you're sick. Let's just say, God forbid, you end up in the hospital. Oxygen. I would go on. You do everything in your power, right, to stay off of a ventilator, right? So oxygen, high-powered O2, right there through the nose. Oxygen cannula. Oxygen, a breathing treatment, not the for crying out loud, your inhaler, your rescue inhaler. I'm talking an inhaled breathing treatment of budesonide, which is Pulmicort. I went blank for a minute. Budesonide, that's an inhaled steroid, right? So here's what happened in our office. Tika got it. It was awful. She went to the hospital, and they wouldn't do a thing. She could not breathe. She was coughing so badly. I mean, I was scared for her. And I said, Tika, you got to go to the hospital. She was giving me all of her information. She's a single mom like me, all the things in case she died. And I was like, what? Don't give me this. I know where all of her things are, right? I said, just get to the hospital. They wouldn't do a thing. They told her she wasn't sick enough when she got in the ER. And I said, ask for 100% oxygen. That's all you need to do while you're waiting to see the doctor. Ask them. They refused to put oxygen on her.
Isn't that crazy?
But it happened to a patient of mine. Her brother-in-law and her father-in-law just got it. And same thing. He was 93. They sent him home. Well, he passed away last week. But he was 93 years old and compromised now. So he had a higher risk, right? But they refused to give him oxygen. So if you go, here's the thing. I would get a steroid for sure. And I don't do steroids and antibiotics and all that, but you can't be so far to the left that you hurt yourself. You've got to practice common sense medicine here. What they ended up doing for Tika was they gave her a pred pack. So prednisone, a steroid dose pack. It turned it around like that.
That's what they
also gave her azithromycin. She took an antibiotic, but remember, this is not a bacterial infection. This is a virus. So I guess they just did that to try to, I don't know really why they gave her the azithromycin, but that didn't do so much. The prednisone, the steroid is what did it. Because what do steroids do? Why do steroids work if you're itching, right? Or if you're stuffed up? Steroids don't treat the root cause at all. Steroids treat the symptom, the inflammation. They decrease the inflammation in your body. That's how steroids work. They work as an anti-inflammatory. So when they decrease that inflammation, you can breathe again. Just like me, when I had chronic itching for years, I was given a whole lot of steroids. Well, the steroids cooled the itching down, but the dermatologist missed it, right? It was my gut creating the itching, but I stopped itching, but it didn't fix the root cause. But on this, steroids are what I would do. I would do in a heartbeat. I would do a Medrol dose pack at the very least.
And that's what they gave me when I had the inflammation around the heart, as you might remember, in the esophagus, and that just took care of it. And then I stepped up everything to rebuild my immune system afterwards, because
that's what I tell my patients. Oh, they call here every day and they're like, Dani, they want to give me whatever. I'm like, take it, for crying out loud. We'll rebuild your gut. I know how to help you rebuild your gut, right? Don't be so far to the left that you hurt yourself over here. So, you don't take everything just without knowing. Always ask questions. But I would definitely, God forbid you end up at the hospital. You ask for 100% oxygen on your nose and ask for steroids. And then if it were me, I would try to get it inhaled, get a nebulizer. But I tried to prescribe one for a patient. They're like out, done, holding stuff. It's really weird what's going on right now. Right. I tried to send in hydroxychloroquine for somebody who is really high risk, and azithromycin. And it pops up just like this on the electronic medical records, a big red X, and it won't let you do it now.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So take your supplements, go see your doctor, keep moving, stay well hydrated, right? Sleep, because your body heals when you sleep. Move during the day, sleep at night. You don't have to keep moving to wear yourself out, but you got to move your body, right? So just listen to your body and know that your body is strong. You're not broken. You're not weak. You caught the virus. Okay. You're going to recover from it 99.9% of the time. Now, what we don't know, though, is the fallout afterwards. And we're learning that.
Yeah, that's the problem, because when I started having the pain, I contacted you first and you said, go to the emergency, Cindy.
Yes. Don't call me. Go to the emergency.
And I can't help it. I don't trust other healthcare providers. I trust you, Dani.
Appreciate it.
I've had too many problems. So, I think a lot of us have with the healthcare provider. So I'm Larry, but I did go, and they said, yes, you have inflammation of the heart, you have inflammation of the esophagus. And so don't be afraid to go, but just, to ask a lot of questions.
Ask a lot of questions.
Ask a lot of questions. I want to
set your body up every day. If you don't have COVID-19 right now, if you don't have the flu, if you don't have whatever, anything that could be going around right now, allergies, set your body up on a day-to-day basis so that when you do get attacked, and you'll come in contact with somebody with this, your body fights it off. That's the goal. You've got to set your body up for resiliency. And many Americans, because we are one of the sickest countries, if not the sickest country in the world, right? We don't move our bodies. We don't eat well. We have too much stress. We drink too much. We eat crappy, all the things. We are not resilient health-wise. We're resilient as a country, but our bodies, many people have not built up resiliency, and that's what's getting them right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And remember the deep breathing exercises that we showed everybody, the pranayama restricting the nasal,
You bet.
here, and actually just both at the same time, and really breathing in and then releasing. It forces your lungs open. It takes some work to do it.
You
And
bet
it forces those lungs. You building that muscle. Remember to add that to the regime as well, everybody.
That's exactly right. There's a lot to do, but I mean, your body's tough, your body's strong. Holy cow. God didn't make any crap over here. He has built you to bounce back. And your job is to treat your body like the temple that it is. And if you're putting in garbage in it, and if you're putting it garbage food wise, garbage social media wise, garbage TV wise, just garbage in general, I mean, it's time to clean it up. We've been given an amazing reset, regroup, regenerate, refresh, all the RE words since March. And it was my hope that most of us would use that time to rebuild everything that had really kind of gotten out of control. And a lot of people didn't. Now, a lot of people did as well. A lot of my patients are thriving right now. This was the best thing that ever happened to them and their family, was they got to slow down. Well, here's what's sad. They had the ability to do that all along, but they didn't do it.
Well, that's why I said this is about learning about respect. I just believe, from the very beginning, this is about learning one thing. God wants us to learn to respect again our bodies, our neighbors, other people, and the virus. It's about learning respect again. And
that's right.
Yeah, that's the way that I view it, Dani. One thing that I've started doing is I brought my garden indoor. I got an indoor growing tent, and I am doing my own microgreens. And I have peppers in there. I'm planting tomatoes. I'm doing all of those things. So all winter long, I'll have my own microgreens.
Good for you.
I just think it's important to continue this because it is not over. This is rampant. And so knowing that is power. This isn't, this was one of the things that was saying the other day. I don't want to know the numbers. Some people say, I don't want to know the number. Knowing the numbers gives you power because, okay, it's increased in my neighborhood. I better do something about it. That gives you information that says, again, not to fear. I got to start taking care of myself. Let me ramp up all of this. I've ramped up all this now. And knowing that it's right here in my neighborhood. Somebody I had that I broke bread with had it. So, let's ramp this up. That's what this is. Take action and you'll be just fine.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Do we have any questions, Ferris, that have come in for Dani?
We've got so many that we can't get to them.
Okay.
But there's a couple here that I do want to address real quick.
Okay.
Janice said she's got some hydroxy pills that she was given to when she was going to India to take for malaria prevention. She wants to know if she should take them if she feels symptom onsets.
I would take them. Now you need to talk to your doctor about this, right? Because again, I don't know exactly your health history, but here's how I would do it for me as somebody who has lupus and already has a compromised immune system is when I got a positive test, I would start is how I would do it. I don't know at the onset because, this mimics the cold, right? Just the common cold.
Yeah.
So I think I would wait until I went and got my positive test. And then if you felt like you needed to, yes. I mean, I have it in my cabinet. So I got it in March. My primary care provider would not prescribe it for me, though. I had to go to my old boss. I went over to Dan.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
he did it for me. Paula said, we're not going to do it. We've made a decision at Williamson Medical Group. We're not going to do it. And I said, okay. So it's been sitting in there since March. But I have it ready in case. I'm not scared to take it.
And Penny just asked me, she said when Cindy's aunt came on, actually that was Cindy's sister. Be sure and tell Sherry Marie, Cindy, that someone called her your aunt.
Oh, okay.
that they were saying, this was very early on, was saying that if you're diagnosed, once you're diagnosed, to stop taking vitamin D because it can increase the possibility of cytokine storm. Is that still true?
I haven't heard that, so I don't know that it would.
I haven't heard anything about that.
I don't know that it would increase the side. I'd have to look that one up, so I don't even want to answer that. I've done a lot of research on this, and I haven't seen anything about stopping it. Now, stopping elderberry, yes, but I don't know, so I can't answer that. I don't want to say yes or no. I had planned on taking, well, gosh, Lord, I had Tika taking it the whole time, everybody here, so.
And that's what gave me energy.
Yeah,
when
Patricia just said she thought that was elderberry.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that having you on here, I've reached a stage in my life where this is not going to happen. One of my regrets in my lifetime is that I never let my hair grow out long enough to have a ponytail, because it looks like so much fun.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you still got time. Let's go. Let's do it.
Darling, it ain't going to happen.
Ferris and Cindy, I just typed in for your tribe what we were offering them.
Yes.
And we will ship it directly from our office if you want. Otherwise, I have a link I can put down on here if you guys need anything.
I tell you what, and we will send out we'll put this with the replay, but I'll also send out an email.
Oh, okay.
Specifically with this in it.
Yes.
So if anybody misses it, because we have a lot of people an awful lot of people that attend by replay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we would be thrilled to, and like I said, we're giving them 15% off those things. And there's actually over 2 months worth of products in that package. So the zinc has actually got 4 months worth in it. So it's a good deal, actually. So, and it's just the basics to help build your immune system up. But more so than that, and one of you is going to win a bottle of our ProBio 7. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
The probiotic. We need to put that in there. If you sign up for our newsletter so that you can, know what's going on and all the free info we send out, one of you is going to win a bottle of ProBio 7. We'll just ship it out this week. So if you sign up today at DaniWilliamson.com, I can see who signs up within the next couple of hours. And then one of you is going to win a free bottle of that. This is a great probiotic right here. It's really good. And if you don't poop well, this will help fix it right there.
Okay, cool.
And before we go, Cynthia's got her hand up. Cynthia, what you got real quick?
Can you tell me what type of zinc you recommend?
Well, zinc bisglycinate is what we use in the office. Now, you can also use zinc picolinate, but we use a bisglycinate, which is a little more gentle on the stomach. This one here is zinc gluconate in this one right here. So there's multiple different kinds of zinc. They're all going to do the same thing. These two seem to be a little bit lighter on the stomach, but again, this one made me nauseated last week when I took it on an empty stomach, when I chewed it on an empty stomach.
Yeah, I've got to take it with food. I can't.
Thank you.
And we have some people that are international. So you're not going to be shipping internationally, right? Yeah, that's
but I think honestly, from our online supplement store, I have a guy who manages our online store down in Orlando. Like I don't have anything to do with it. They just give me like 2% or something. I don't know what we sell. I think they can ship internationally, and that's at DaniWilliamson.com. Well, I posted the link there, Carewell. If you go to our website, you'll see where it says store. We have every bit of this on there, except for our local elderberry and fish broth. What in the world? Bone broth, fish broth.
Now they should email you for this deal, right? With the 15% off. If you go through the store, it'll be full price. So
that's right. If you go through, because I don't have anything to do with that. It's just a service we give to the patients to buy online, like keep it easy like that. We'll personally ship it. My son will, from out of this office. So you'll need to just say, I'm part of Energized Living. I want that four-piece D3 vitamin C. I typed it in there. Zinc and biocidin throat spray. Yeah,
Okay.
that'll get you going, guys. But even if you don't, that's totally fine. I just want you to know that your body's designed to heal itself. So I know we've gone way over here, but you've got to build your body up for resiliency. And Cindy teaches this stuff all the time to you all. And it's just so much more than just food. It's emotional and physical and spiritual and mental and, stress and sleeping and all the things connected. And I just think that I don't know, we just have been given such a great blessing, and we spend all of our time inside. What have you looked at this earth since all of this has gone down, at how beautiful the sky is and clear? And it's just
Our environment has responded so fast to us slowing down.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yes. So I appreciate you, Cindy, letting me talk to you. I do. I hope I did okay. That was
beautiful. Everybody, I
have a question. They're talking about telling us to stay inside, but they used to say take a walk in nature or just go out and walk. So if you just walk around your complex, is that going to be bad to go out and do that?
No.
Wear your mask.
Get yourself out. We didn't get into the mask controversy, at all. And I think everybody's different on that. I think that, let's don't. But indoor air pollution can affect lung. And that's right. And so one thing we didn't talk about were different things you can do. Open the windows up. We know this. We've got science on this. But you don't want just this front window open up right here in my supplement store, that window right there. You want the window back there in Allie's office open as well. You want cross ventilation every day. Every day I open my windows, whether it used to drive my mother nuts. Whether it's winter or spring or summer or fall, you want cross ventilation, and you for sure do now. But get outside, get in your apartment complex. I've got 2 patients, they're really old. He's had 3 different kinds of cancer, and they live in an apartment where there's a lot of dog poop down there, and stuff. And he's like, gosh, they spray it. And I just don't feel good taking my shoes off there. So I said, well, then go anywhere, go to the park, whatever, take your shoes off, walk around, breathe. I think being outside is the greatest thing that you can do. Absolutely.
Right. That's right. That's my thoughts. I wanted to get clarity because I keep hearing stay inside. And I have been doing a lot of that, but I want to get out too.
Get out. If you're in your backyard, what are people worried about, But I take off and go hiking. You see more families walking now than you have ever seen. And I love that. That's a big blessing. I mean, they may be walking with wine in their cups. I don't know, pushing this. They may be going for a wine walk, but they're all together. And there's something beautiful about that. And so, no, get outside, take your shoes off, get your feet to the earth, your face to the sun. A good nighttime starts with a good morning. When that sun's coming up, our body is designed. The colors of the sun are designed to set the rods and cones in your eyes, to set them up circadian rhythm wise to produce cortisol, right? Cortisol is the highest it's going to be in the morning in our body. And then those eyes, that sun sets that body up to produce cortisol. And then in the evening, cortisol rises during the day. It's the highest it's going to be at noon. And then it starts to drop down. And as cortisol starts to drop, guess what's rising in a perfect world? Melatonin. So as you get there in the morning, you start setting up your body to start making cortisol, which is great. It's great. And then it starts to drop. And then evening, if you'll watch the sun go down, feet to the earth, face to the sun, your body's going to trigger that melatonin to start to make naturally. And that's the full circadian rhythm. We've messed the whole thing up, every bit of it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you.
Sorry, I could talk all day. Good Lord, it's 11:30, Cindy.
I know. I just appreciate everything that you've done. So we will send out an email to everybody with all the information for Dani so that you can order your kit to get your immune system strong. Don't go through the drive-through, although there was a period of time that I was doing that only because we had everything torn up here. We've been redoing. We're downsizing stuff, getting rid of a lot of stuff. So
You bet.
but
Automate, delegate, get rid of it. If it's not extremely useful or extremely beautiful, you're out.
yeah, anything that takes my energy, I want it gone.
Right.
And I can say I love you goodbye. That's what I can do. I can say I love you goodbye to this stuff. It was a gift from somebody, and so I held on to it. I took a picture of it to remember it and just said, thank you. I did what I was supposed to do with this gift. I received it. Receiving is what a gift is about. I've received it, and now I'm going to gift it forward. That's the way I'm looking at it. Positive mindset.
I'm going to tell you, I've learned a lot. I don't keep much. When I got back from Haiti, when we had the earthquake, I learned real fast that I didn't need anything. I spent 3 weeks over there in a medical mission trip with people just dying in front. It was just an awful experience. It was amazing, but it was a horribly sad experience. I came home and got rid of everything. My mother, on the other hand, when she moved out of her house last year, I learned real fast that I even need more. I need to get rid of more. It is a mess. I have spent a year and 4 months in not quite a hoarder house, but pretty close to it. And I just can't imagine what my mom was thinking. Just don't do that. I'm not going to do that to my kids. My kids are not going to inherit a home that I have to literally go through every piece, because I found a half a carat diamond literally in a piece of saran wrap in the bottom of a file cabinet, in the bottom of a purse I was going to take to the secondhand store, and it said for Dani. What the hell? What? In a piece of saran wrap. And what? And I took it to the jeweler. He goes, that's a half a carat diamond. What? I would have thrown that purse away. Don't do that. Start cleaning out your stuff, man. Get rid of it.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Better. You feel better when you don't have all that mess.
Well, I would love for you to come back on again, definitely when your book comes out. But if we have more questions, we've had a lot of questions come in. I really hope that this has helped everybody. Again, just after Friday, just everybody asking a lot of questions. That's all it was, Dani, just questions. And I've read all these protocols, and some of them, it's a lot of crap being said, and then others, it's great. Let's find out what's really going on. And there's nobody in my life that researches better than Dani. She is always in a class. She is always in a seminar. She is always learning. And I trust you fully. And I thank you for being here for our beautiful soul gang.
Well, I love you guys. I appreciate you all. And thank you for taking time out on your Sunday morning. It's so beautiful. Now get your shoes off and let's get outside.
Okay. We're on our way out. Let's open up our lines and say,
And Dani,
Yes, sir.
Next time you come on, before you do, I want you to get a little more rest so you can be a little more animated.
Yeah, I was a little stressed this morning driving in, so I'm not really on my A game. So I'm a little.
Thank you so much for being here.
I apologize.
you're amazing.
Barbara, Sunday night service is every Sunday night except tonight, because I'm supposed to be in a conference right now. I have a conference all day today to be in, studying on the gut, actually. But every Sunday night, 6 p.m. on my Facebook Live. If you don't have Facebook, you can go to YouTube. YouTube, every single Sunday night service I've ever done is lined up there. On the next day, we transfer it to YouTube from Facebook. But you can watch it live, which is fun like this, because people get to ask questions. Next weekend is on the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Suicide prevention is near and dear to my heart. I've done a 5-part series on addiction and mental health the last 5 weeks, and we're ending it with suicide prevention next week. And so anyway, Dani Williamson Wellness, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. But the Sunday night service is on Facebook Live.
And I just put it in there. I just put the link in there.
Yeah.
So we will put everything in the email, post it, for everybody so that you know how to get there. All different topics. You're amazing. Let's open up our lines, everybody.
Thank you, Damon.
Thank you. Guys.
Appreciate
Phenomenal,
it.
just what we needed.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
So much good information.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Namaste.
Thank you. Stay
Have a great day,
Namaste.
everybody. Love you.